myself. Having myself
I'll come back over here.
Yeah, I think it's a great space that you're in. My key question to you is, how are you socializing your games today? Because the big news a lot of times is how social networks are being taken over by the gameplay that's there, and a lot of marketers are very interested in tapping into all that enthusiasm there, and also the viral aspect of games. Your games are very episodic, but they're self-contained. So I'm wondering, how are you moving into that new space too as well? It seems like do you think it's important for you, or do you think it's still good, there's a lot to mine still?
You know, I'm not sure I totally understand the question, but I think what's happened is there's a tremendous amount of clutter that's going on the social networks, particularly as it comes to games. And so what we're doing by working directly with the brands and helping them to create not only the game, but also the strategy that goes along with the game, we're actually building out distribution strategy with them, helping them figure out how we're going to advertise the game to get people there. So one example is we'll build playable banners, much as Orbitz has done with their travel-related banners, and those will drive people to the game overall. Then when they're playing the game, we'll reward them for certain behaviors like coming back and playing again. They'll have a consistent leaderboard that will work across any of the places where they play these games. They'll be rewarded then for coming back with certain points that are either attached to product or attached to the game themselves that reward them for ongoing behavior. So all of those things, it's kind of like harnessing the overall marketing strategy of the brand and using the brand as the catalyst to help us bring people to the game, as opposed to what we see going on a lot right now, which is games kind of being placed out into the social network space to fend for themselves. And I think in that way it becomes very difficult for people to assess what are really good games and what aren't.
Go ahead. And my only other question is, how are you currently financed? Because it seems like this is much more service, and my question is about scalability, because there's a technology side of things, and you showed very quickly it's engines, but just getting the same game over and over again, it's not going to be what the marketers want.
Right. So we raised a seed round of about $3 million when we started the company, and that was a combination of angel investors and some institutional money from a company called Klingenstein Fields, which is a wealth management firm in New York, and another one called TDA Industries. We're looking to raise an A round, and you're right, the work that we've done to date has been much more service-oriented, where we've built out big games. What that's given us is the advantage of understanding exactly what these brands are looking for, and there's this tremendous commonality. So with GameTable, what we'll be doing is actually creating and owning the IP, and then offering brands the opportunity for sponsorship of the IP, or the ability to advertise around the IP as other forms of media. And there's also, so there's licensing, there's sponsorship, there's audience aggregation. What did I forget, Frank?
You're touching on the big ones.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is obviously a very cool space, because given that there is a lot of information blocking that's going on, you obviously kind of figured out interesting ways of getting the message across. So I have two questions. One is, is your business model, you didn't sort of talk about this, but my inference is that your business model is you're actually licensing the platform to essentially creators of these games. Is that correct?
No, we actually, I'm sorry, I also didn't mention, we're based in Greenwich, Connecticut. We have a game development studio in Vancouver, BC. So we actually take ownership over everything from the creation of the original strategy through the development and deployment of the game. And we are licensing the game rights to the people who are using them. So in the case of the Happiness Factory games, we give a perpetual license for that application of the game, but at the end of the day, we generally own the engine, so we're able to go back if we want to and be able to use that engine. We would never create anything that looks exactly like that, but we can take the engine and build a bigger metagame or a bigger story on top of it, so that we have the ability to create unique marketing vehicles for brands, but at the same time leverage the economies of having built these things already.
So is your business model then very similar to a game development studio, where you actually produce the game and all the conceptualization?
Yeah, not really, because as far as the actual programming is concerned, we work with outside development teams. So, for example, we have a team of folks that we work with in the Ukraine who are developing a lot of the games for us right now. So, but what we have is we have all the executive production, the concept development, because a lot of us come out of EA and THQ and Disney Interactive and so forth, and so we had the experience of having lots of people and all the overhead associated with that in-house. And what we've learned is there's tremendous development talent that's out there and available for us to tap into, and we're able to work with that in a very flexible way, so that ultimately we own the engines, but we don't have to have all the overhead of having the programming in-house.
Okay, but what's your scalability metric, and who do you aspire to be? Are you going to be the Electronic Arts of sort of game marketing, if you will?
Yeah, I mean, the key metric that we look at for success is client adoption, right? So as we're going out and we're talking to to different agencies and to different clients. Our ability to convince people to use these games as a key component to their overall marketing mix is how we would measure our success ultimately. And there's not a lot of proxies for us in the marketplace right now. Certainly the game studios are looking at this space and trying to figure out whether they can do free to play and use other ways of leveraging the tremendous audience that's out there on the internet. But then you've got a lot of kind of the work for hire, the advergaming companies that are just really production shops that have a core set of engines that they reskin and kind of do your brand here type of approach. And then technology companies that are allowing for the widgetization of games. We're trying to sort of blend all of that with our core marketing expertise. And I think it's interesting just to hear a lot of the discussion this morning about advertising revenue. And so much is sort of based on the old model of can we get push-based advertising that we can put into this new medium. What we're doing is we're meeting with brand directors, chief marketing officers, heads of interactive, and actually talking to them about compelling ways to use a new medium in a new way. And so it's branded entertainment, which is really what this is, but in a scalable, platform-based way, where we've got a highly leveraged platform that we can build things once and deploy it often.
Great. Thanks very much.